Welcome back to another episode of Life's Weird with Jen and George. I'm Jen.
I'm George. What's happening? I'm ready. I'm ready to rock and roll. I'm ready to talk, yap it
Episode
up.
3.
Episode 3. Let's go. Let's go.
Let's do it.
Let's get weird around these
Yeah.
parts.
Today, we're kind of doing things a little different. So, we wanted to have a self-care episode, but that kind of
Jeez.
spiraled into a fun little new thing we're going to try here. So, one of my self-care things is tattoos, which some of you may know I have six, technically seven. Um, so
Technically seven?
technically seven because one is a two-parter.
Okay, okay, okay.
There's a two. We can do a tattoo tour,
Okay.
if we if we get
So
to it.
we'll save that for your OnlyFans. You know what
Right,
I'm
exactly. You gotta pay extra for that.
saying? That's right.
So yeah, so a lot of you have seen us posting about questions for tattoo artists, and we will not be answering those questions. We will be having a very special guest. It is my tattoo artist, and we're very excited to have him. So we're going to have a special guest, and he's going to be
Let's
popping on
go.
any second here. So yeah, we're going to ask all of your questions. Thank you for keeping it weird, and here he
Easy
is.
peasy.
Oh, he's in
Yo.
space.
Space Cadet.
That's,
I love it.
that was a little weird how they jumped in like that. It was like from outer space, but I appreciate
Coming from space. I love it.
Sick.
it.
Yeah, this is my tattoo artist, Mason. Thank you so much for being our first guest here. Have you ever done a podcast?
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is my first time being on a podcast, so yeah, new
Yeah,
experience for me.
exciting. Well, thank
Perfect.
you for being our first, and thank you for letting us be your first. This is very, very intimate, especially in space. This is great.
Absolutely.
That's funny.
So let's dive in. And how long have you been tattooing? What got you into it? Let's dig in there.
Yeah, sure. So I've been tattooing. It'll be 7 years, post apprenticeship in June. So around 6.5 years at this point. Um, I got into tattooing in when I was in my undergraduate at the University of Colorado, and I just kind of fell in love with it. I had always wanted to be tattooed, and I was like on a pre-med track beforehand,
Oh
and I was like,
wow.
yeah, I want to be a surgeon and I want to be tattooed, and they're like, oh, you can't be a tattooed surgeon. I'm like, why not? That's ridiculous. But
I'm sh- wow. I'm sure your parents were like really shocked at that change.
oh yeah, everyone was like WTF. Yeah.
For sure.
But
That's
yeah,
awesome.
I kind of fell in love with like large scale, like Japanese styled work, and that's mostly what I mean, like I do a bit of everything, but that's kind
I was
of
gonna
the
say, I'm
thing
like,
that makes me the most
Mhm.
stoked. And that's what kind of gave me like the inkling to, you know, pursue tattooing full time. So
that's
So if
awesome.
one of sorry, so if one of our listeners wanted to get involved into like tattooing, like is this like a thing that you got to jump into like when you're younger, or could you jump in earlier, or is this just kind of like one of those situations where you just gotta kind of know?
yeah, it's a great question. I everybody has their own path in life, right? Like everybody
Mhm.
has their own situation and circumstance. Like for me, like I found it when I was fairly young. So I was able to have that younger start with it, but it really just depends. So if somebody were interested in doing it, I mean, it's not for the faint-hearted. It's
Yeah,
it's not like a plan B type deal. It's something
yeah.
that is always something that I'm working on and thinking about. And uh, if you want to do it, I would draw a lot. I would get tattooed by people that you admire and respect, as people and as artists. And yeah, it's and good luck.
For sure.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were like a little baby artist when I started coming to you. So I kind of have been with you your whole career. That's awesome. I love
Yeah,
that.
you really have actually. Yeah, I appreciate you being along for the ride.
I
It's been a cool
appreciate
one.
you. Yeah, I've been telling people it's gonna be six, almost seven tattoos in 6 years. And they're like, why would you do that? I'm like, why wouldn't I do that?
Right.
So yeah, that's awesome.
Heck yeah.
Oh,
So do you prefer to tattoo other artists or do you prefer to tattoo people that aren't artists? Or do you have a preference?
Um, I love people. I think one of the largest reasons that I've come to find of why I tattoo and why I enjoy being a tattoo artist is the connection that you get to make with others, um, and the community that you can build around it. Because we win together, and to be able to have that connection and to establish trust and to establish a relationship that can be, that can last 6, 7 years, 6, 7 for all the young kids out
there
there.
you go.
Uh,
For the kids.
but um, yeah, back to that. It. I'm sorry, I totally lost my train of thought. The
Huh.
brain rot totally went in there.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
it's like back tattooing regular clients or other artists. Like it's all its own unique experience and it's all its own unique thing with each individual, and that's, like I said, why am so passionate about it. I've had experiences with super random, just like random people. And then maybe sometimes the hardest clients I've worked with are other artists, so it just kind of really depends. But that's what kind of gives it the spice of life, like you never know what you're getting into. Every day is different. I've never had a day that is completely the same, which is great. Because I just get so bored.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So I do have a question. So I personally do not have any tattoos, right? So what is your like suggestion for people who are afraid of needles? Or I think my uh situation is that it just feels so permanent. So it's like I changed a lot from 25 till the age I am now, 41. So the tattoos I would have got when I was 25 would look terrible right now on my 40-year-old one body. What like suggestions do you give for people for picking a tattoo?
That's a great question. We change like the seasons, like we're meant to grow and we're meant to reflect and, be different, I think, in life. And, the same deal with me. Like I didn't get my first tattoo until I was 19, and which is, a fairly young age. Like I was like the age of being able to make the decision myself, and I'm glad I didn't get a tattoo when I was 15 or 16
Yeah.
because I would have some stupid My Chemical Romance tattoo across my chest,
That's funny. Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
so I think it is important to really consider and meditate on the things that you want, because going back to the permanence thing, like, yeah, like you're gonna have it for the rest of your life. But,
Yeah.
life itself is impermanent. So I like to view it as a time and place that is like a reminder of where I was and who I was at the time, and it kind of tells my story. Like I could look at any tattoo that I have on my body and be like, "Oh yeah, like I remember that was, when I was 19, I got my first one, and my first tattoo is covered now,
Yeah.
because I wanted to do a sleeve, so I had a small one on my chest, and then I ended up getting it covered over, because my taste changed, So, just being open to adapting and to changing and to have the confidence to make a decision and to live with it, I think is important. Um, that is, some people, they'll get like a smaller, uh, maybe like a quote or like a lyric or a small image. But once you start getting into like the large scale stuff where you're spending hours and weeks and months and years and hundreds and thousands and tens of thousands of dollars to do it, like it's you're committed, and it's like I feel like it's a lifestyle to be a tattooed person.
Yeah.
Um, and there's a certain type of like mindset that you have around it, and why it is that you have tattoos and why it is that you want to wear a tattoo. Which I think is an interesting story to talk about. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm. Love that.
Sure.
So I know, just because I've seen you, I know you have a lot of tattoos. How many are from other artists and how many did you do yourself?
So the majority of my tattoos are from other artists. The first tattoo, uh, well, actually, no, the first tattoo I got was from another artist. I've tattooed myself 7 times. The first
Mhm.
tattoo I ever did was on myself, and it was done in a way that I wouldn't recommend to anybody, because I was interested in tattooing, but I was very naive. I wasn't aware of proper technique or proper application. I was just like, I want a tattoo and I'm gonna do it. And so I ordered. I mean, like with the times that we live in, I was able to just order a tattoo machine online, and it got to my house, and I watched a couple of YouTube videos, and I was like, yeah, I got this. I did not have that.
That's great.
But it's part of my journey, and that's part of my
Yeah.
story, and that's something that I'm very willing to open up to. So I think I've tattooed myself about 7 times, and that was done very early on in my career. And since then, all of my tattoos have been collected from other artists and all over the country. I've been tattooed in New York, in California, in uh, Texas, Georgia, like, and that's part of like what I live for, is to travel and to meet people and to establish connections and to have something to show for it. Like you can make money, and you can spend that, but like if you spend your time and your money on a tattoo, that's something that you get to carry with you for the rest of your days, and I think that's one of the coolest things ever. So,
Mhm.
Sure.
It's fun to have that story with it too. Like, yeah, this was done in wherever.
yeah,
Would Are there certain like locations that like hurt more than others?
absolutely. Oh yeah. Absolutely. The body is a magnificent thing. That was partly the reason I wanted to go into medicine, was I was so enamored and very drawn to the human body and how it worked and how it was composed and all of these things. And but like with tattooing, and it is like a thing that I do with a body and with other people's bodies. Um and as I've gotten tattooed more and more like over my body, I am now more aware of what I'm doing to others. And that's why when you asked if somebody wanted to get into it, I was like, you need to get tattooed, because you have to understand what that is like to put somebody through that and how you can deal with it. And you need to be, a guide and like a medium to then work with somebody through a tattoo. I believe that every tattoo is a collaboration between artist and client. And if you don't have a client, you don't have somebody to tattoo at all, right? So to have that understanding and that respect for others, I think is primary. Um, so like, if you get a tattoo on like your forearm, right? Um, Not super bad. Like it's gonna hurt. Like they all hurt. Every time somebody asks me when I'm about to tattoo them, and this is usually like the younger crowd or maybe a
Yeah.
first time tattoo getter, is it gonna hurt? And I just say yes. Like I never want to beat around the
Yeah.
bush or lie to somebody about it. Like it will hurt. How much it hurts, it depends. Like
Yeah.
everybody's anatomy is different that go into it. Same with like making a tattoo. Like if somebody comes in, they're like, "Oh, I want X, Y, and Z tattooed at 1, 2, 3." I'm like, okay. Like then I start asking questions. Like, okay, so how big are we going to do it? What type of needle grouping am I going to need to use? So the tattoo is going to be applied in the correct way and it's going to heal in the correct way. Like there are certain checkpoints that you need to mark off in order to make the probability of the tattoo being successful as high as possible, right? So like a forearm is like pretty manageable. I would say it's probably like a 3 or 4 out of 10 on the scale. Um, but like if you get tattooed in the ditch of your elbow, that's more of like a 7 or 8 on the scale.
Oh,
Um, if you get tattooed on like the top of your shoulder, that's maybe like a 4 or 5 in pain tolerance. But if you get tattooed like outside of your armpit, that's like an 8 or a 9. That's one of the worst spots that I've had is
oh,
right outside the armpit or like in the crotchal region. That's pretty bad.
yeah.
Back of the knee really hurts.
Mm.
Top, the ankle, like, like it's kind of strange how it all works. And then some, are great and some are not. Like my left shin was like super easy. Granted, I was a little stoned when it happened, but which I usually
For
also don't
sure.
recommend because you're
Yeah.
not really in a great mindset of like being like in the moment, or you might be too in the moment, which can mess it up. I would go get tattooed sober.
Yeah.
But then like my right shin was terrible. It was super super painful, and
Hmm.
so it just really depends. And I'm rambling, but that's
Nah,
my
you're
gist
good.
on
You're
it.
good.
Yeah,
It's stuff people want to know for sure,
Yeah,
cool.
and
or
kind
that
of
I want to
piggybacking
know.
off of that, I do have a question from one of our people is do you recommend numbing cream or do you have a preference if people use numbing cream?
Great question, Jenny. Thank you. I there's many schools of thought on this, and so I'm just gonna speak from my experience and how I have come to understand it. Numbing cream is a topical solution, right, that you apply on the exterior of your body. And there's like the usual reactive agent is lidocaine, but lidocaine usually only really works if it's like internally injected into your body. So there's like a spray that I use called Bactine, and it's an antiseptic and has like a small amount of lidocaine in it, but it only works once the skin has been opened. Um, but if you do try to put on a numbing cream beforehand, and like technology changes, and like there are so many companies working on different solutions and stuff to try to have that be a thing to help out, but I I do not recommend a numbing cream because it can change the structure of the skin as we go into tattoo, and that's something that raises a red flag for me. It's a concern of mine because I don't want to have it affect the tattoo's application in a negative way. And if I don't know, like, like I said earlier, like if everybody's anatomy and pain tolerance is different, like it's hard for me to try to anticipate how that's going to react. Um, so I always don't recommend it. I have had a few clients where they've just been unable to sit through it and it's been too painful for them. And then we have used the numbing cream as a sort of a medium to just get through the tattoo. Um, but it's a very few and far between thing. And I think, I mean, this might just be my opinion, man, but like if you want to get the tattoo, you got to earn it, you know?
Yeah.
Like I've had to do that. So, that's kind of my opinion on that. Yeah.
Perfect. So this episode is about self-care. What's something that you do, as far as self-care goes when you're not working?
Sure. I mean, what a loaded question. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
There's many things, I think that's a question we all try to ask ourselves every day is like, what is self-care and what does that mean to you and how do you use it for your life? Because it's a very subjective question, right? Like I'm sure we could brainstorm a list of objective things that we can be like, oh, well, you need to sleep 8 hours a day, or you need to drink a liter of water a day, or you need to pay your taxes or whatever, like to make sure that you're going to be able to do the things you need to do. I mean, self-care for me, I feel like it changes, and there, like we grow, we develop in different ways, and we have this experience of life that is so wild and unpredictable and amazing in the full definition of the word. But like for me, I've so many things that I like to do that helps me get my mind right, get my body right. So where I can continue to deal with the forever lasting pressures of life. Getting tattooed is definitely one of them. Tattooing has been this amazing and beautiful journey for me that has really kind of stripped me down and built me back up in the best ways. The reason that I'm on this podcast with you right now,
Yeah,
so
for sure.
it's a very cool thing, the opportunities and situations that it can create for me. And then getting tattooed myself. I want to get tattooed every month if I could, but it is
Uh,
expensive and it does hurt, and you need before and after getting tattooed. So like you need to, plan accordingly. But yeah, getting tattooed, traveling to get tattooed is one of my favorite things. Like one of the last tattoo I got, I traveled to Las Vegas, which was fun. And it might not be
yeah,
the best place for me to be because I just love shiny and flashy things.
yeah, yeah, for
But
sure.
I went and got a tattoo of Vegeta from Dragon Ball Z
Ah, there
because
you
I'm a
go.
huge Dragon Ball Z fan. And I went out to Las Vegas, and the artist that I was working with uh, became a buddy of mine, and we went and played around of golf, and we went and got a really awesome dinner, and then he destroyed my shin for 8 hours, so like, but that is such a fulfilling experience for me. And that's something that I have for the rest of my life, and something, I get to look at it every day and be like, oh, it just makes me feel more like myself. It makes me feel like I've, like done something, it gives
Yeah,
me like a sense of pride of accomplishment and of, spending my time in a way that is meaningful to me. And I think maybe that's a way to answer the
definitely.
question is self-care is like, how do you spend your time that is meaningful and fulfilling for you? Um, I also love skateboarding and being active. I like hanging out with people that I know and love. I like hanging out with strangers. Like I'm a bit of an odd character because I'm kind of into everything.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, self-care, it's a personal question, and that's, the only answer that you can find from that is like by going inside. So I don't know if that helps.
perfect. That's a perfect answer.
Cool.
Love that. Well, let's dive into some questions from viewers, unless you have any more you have, George.
I don't think so. I think I'm good.
I got a list here. I was like, oh, okay. Is there an age that you or your skin is too old for a tattoo?
Great question. Um, our skin changes, right? So I've tattooed people who are 18 years old, that are young and full of life, and their skin is elastic, and and that it usually makes it a little bit easier to apply a tattoo. As we age, we lose a bit of that elasticity, right? And it can affect the way that your your tattoo is applied and how it heals. But that's also a part on like me and how I can, take those multiple steps to determine like how I need to work to make the tattoo successful. Because I've tattooed everyone from 18. I think the oldest person I tattooed was 81.
Oh man.
So that's kind of like a nice little mirror of age. So I don't think there is an age that's too old. I mean, too young, yes, you gotta be 18. You gotta be an adult. You gotta be able to make, a decision for yourself and be like solidified in it. And when I was 18, I made a lot of bad decisions too.
Yeah.
So um yeah, I don't think that there is a range. I think that's something, that's a question that you need to ask yourself and whether that's something that you do or don't want for you. And I don't, I have talked to so many different people about it, and some people say, "Oh, I don't want a tattoo." I'm like, "That's cool, man. Like, no worries. Like, it's your life. Like you're the master of your own destiny. You're the one that gets to shape what your everyday looks like. So, whether you want it or not, like that's cool. No sweat off my back.
Sure.
And then, is it true that red ink hurts more?
No, 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 no. So I think the thing with like the colors of ink and like how that happens, some people and some inks do affect differently, right? Like black inks are very, basically very safe to use. Like the way that it's composed and the pigments that are used within it are the most likely to be successful. There are some colors, and there have been debates, and there have even been bans in different countries about like different colors that you can and can't use based on like the pigments that are used within it. The same thing with like paints. Like if anybody are artists and are familiar with like cadmium red and cadmium yellow, like they can be toxic, right,
Mm.
to the
Oh
human
wow.
body. So making sure that you have an artist and that you have like a know-how about like how things work is important because it can potentially be problematic. That I'd say the likelihood is fairly low, um, but with like the color things, like I also people say like white highlights are the worst, but that's after you've done the entire tattoo and you've done the outline and you've done the shading. And then once you get into color or once you get into white highlights, your skin has already been beat up for a couple of hours. So like that, yeah, it's gonna hurt a little bit more because your skin is already more sensitive. I wouldn't per se that one color is more painful than the other. It just all hurts, yeah.
Yeah.
Existence is pain, Jerry. Shout out
That's
Rick and
funny.
Morty.
I do have actually another question because it just made
Yeah.
me pop up in my mind. Is there a tattoo that you just had to refuse because it was just too weird or too racist or just too like you just looked and they showed you and you were like, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah. And I think that's why like we're here as like tattoo artists and people that are professionals and do it as a career because it's my job, right? It's
Yeah,
something that I do every day and it's something that I train for years and it's something that I constantly go out and try to learn more about through conventions or seminars or other artists that I respect and admire to make sure that I'm able to do the best tattoo that I can do. And every time that I do a tattoo, that is my work and my reputation on the line, right?
yeah,
So if somebody comes in with an idea, I'll always try to veer the conversation into a way where we're going to have a successful design, a successful tattoo that's going to not only look good the day that we do it, but it's going to look good 3, 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road, right? Because that's when the tattoo is in your body. It's like it lives as a healed thing. So if somebody comes to me with an idea and I'm like, well, like I don't know if that's going to be the best, I won't like be like, you suck, fuck you, that's not gonna work.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
maybe to my friends I'll say that, but
yeah,
to a client, I'll try to more gently, steer them into the right direction. On to more of the question of if it's like offensive or
yeah.
racist, yeah, I'm not going to do anything like that. It's not something that I support. It's not something that I'm going to condone. It's not something that I'm going to put out into the world. So yeah, I would definitely refuse to do that. Um, or like, you know, if somebody's like, "Oh, you should tattoo like my penis or my butthole," I'm gonna be like, "Well, first of all, I'm not a sex worker, and then if you're gonna treat me like one, you're gonna pay me like one and
For sure,
triple, So I'll get
for
I'll throw
sure.
out some exorbitant amount of money to be like, yeah, I'll do it, but for like 2 grand, like
Yeah,
I'm not gonna just be like touching up all on
yeah,
you,
for sure.
like there are other people for that.
That's
So,
funny.
mhm.
Can your body reject ink?
Yeah, well, that's the natural process of it. A tattoo is a foreign body. Like if I'm injecting ink into your dermis layer of your skin, what your body's immune system does is it sends macrophages and white blood cells to the area to break down that foreign body, right? It's the same thing that happens with bacteria and viruses when you get sick or what, like whenever something enters your body. Your the human body is designed to go in and remove things that are not meant to be there. However, with a tattoo, when done properly, the macrophages are not able to break down the ink entirely. So that's where like the residual of it will stay. It can be rejected, and with like if the tattoo is applied incorrectly, like say the tattoo is too light, like I didn't like say the tattoo wasn't applied into a way that it's going to stick in the dermis, or I didn't put in enough ink for to overwhelm the body from being able to break it down completely. Um, then yeah, it can not stick, and like that, your body will go in and break that down. Or say if I do it too much, then you like flood, like, and that's what we call a blowout in tattooing, is if too much ink was applied to the cells that it can't hold on to, and like it'll spread to other cells around it. But that's like the opposite problem. It's like, well, now I have too much of this ink in there. Um, you can also have, like if you don't have proper sterile environments, and if you don't have, proper training in bloodborne pathogens and needle safety, cross contamination, there's a bunch of bad stuff that can happen. So it's very important to make sure that your artists are qualified and certified in the ways that they need to be. And I mean that could be a completely different conversation in and of itself, and like how things should be regulated and whatever. And I mean, like, I'm just one guy, like I'm somebody that came in and I was like, yo, tattoos are cool. This is something I want to do. I've made it my life. And I've, done my best to dedicate myself in every way that I can. So, yeah, it's there's so many, like it's a conversation that could last for hours, and I could talk about it for hours. But yeah, it can happen. Um, Poor aftercare is a huge thing too. Like you need to be able to properly take care of your tattoos, because if you don't, then like you can have scarring and like the body doesn't heal correctly. There's just so many nuances that should be talked about in order, for proper tattoo uh application, aftercare, yeah, preparation too, like there's so many things. So yeah.
Enlightening
I
stuff.
do
Look at that
have.
pre-med
Oh,
coming through.
exactly.
Not
Medical
really.
man. I got one more.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of celebrities with like tattoos. Do you have like a certain celebrity who's on your wish list? Like, I wish I was like that person's like personal tattoo artist.
Ooh, yeah, Aaron Gordon of the Denver
Ah, from the
Nuggets.
Denver Nuggets. Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I would be so hyped to tattoo Aaron Gordon. I'm a huge basketball fan, huge Denver Nuggets
Mm.
fan. Yeah, Aaron Gordon would be sick.
Ah, that's cool.
We'll
But I
tag
mean,
him.
like, also people have their own people, like
For sure.
you have your own connections in your own ways, and like I don't know who tattoos him. It might be like
Yeah.
his buddy, or like his,
Mhm.
like somebody that he knows through somebody else, and they could have a good connection, like that's just like me dreaming.
Yeah,
But
for sure. Throw it out
uh
there in the universe, man. He might see it. Like,
yeah,
man, I need
maybe,
that guy to be
maybe,
my guy.
maybe.
So when I
Sure.
first got this question, I thought it was to me, and I'm like, excuse me. So you can take this however you want. I wasn't quite sure, but it's why are you doing tattoos and how is your mental health? And I was like,
Oh,
fine,
wow.
but this is for you. So why are you doing tattoos and how is your mental health?
Why I do tattoos is because it makes me happy. Like it provides this thing in my life that I can always work on and develop. and it's something that I can use for myself as like a self-care method and a means of expression. I'm an artist, I'm a musician, I'm a whole lot of things, but I'm at the end of the day, I'm just a soul experiencing Earth as a human, and that's cool. And I want to take in as much as I can. So I think that's part of why I continue to do it, because it's something that just pushes me forward there, because I know there's more to do. You know, um, my mental health, that's a
Love
That
your
daily
is a
thing.
question.
question.
What a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it fluctuates. Like there are good days and there are bad days, but I'm so grateful for that fluctuation, because I think it gives me like a very full experience. Like if you can't understand how good the sunlight feels if you haven't gone through a dark night. You can't grasp how sick it is to have a awesome, amazing tattoo if you don't go through the shitty process of getting it. Um, so I think having that duality of experience is very important as a human being. You can't understand grief without having love. You can't understand happiness without being sad. Like these are things that are, I mean, deep, deep stuff,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, mental health, and like the object of this discussion, self-care,
Yeah.
it's a, it's an ever-flowing stream of stuff, and we're like along for the ride. And we do our best to discuss it and to live through it so we can have this understanding of it. But it's also something that I think we're not meant to actually fully understand. It's just something we're meant to
Yeah.
experience.
For sure.
I do
What
have
is,
another question.
yes,
Sorry to
go for
cut
it.
you
No,
off.
go.
So, what's your ultimate goal as a tattoo artist? Are you trying to open your own shop like in the future? Like, where do you see yourself in 10, 15 years? I'm sorry, I'm sounding like your dad right now. Sorry.
No,
But
it's cool. I didn't really have a dad, so I'll take it. um, I don't know. I think that's something that has changed for me. Back to what I'm saying, I might sound like a broken record, but like I don't like to really define myself or define anything, because I'm sure, as you guys know and as anybody that's listening knows, like if you try to make a plan for something, the universe or God
yeah,
or whatever it is that you really believe in will throw a wrench in it, and then you're faced with uh this decision of moving through it. Um so it's changed for me a lot, and as I grow up and as I mature, I'm going to be 31 this year, which is wild. I'm getting to unk status, which is
for
tight,
sure.
but it's changed for me. Like at first it was just like I want to be a tattoo artist,
Yeah,
right? Like I want to be a tattooer, and then I did it, right? And so it's like, okay, well now I'm a tattoo artist. Now what? What
yeah,
kind of tattoos do I want to make? What kind of clientele do I want to make? Like what kind of place do I want to live in? What type of things do I want to surround myself with? Like it's an ever changing, it's like this stepping ladder that once you get to the next level, there's always another
yeah,
rung on it. So, I mean, to more so answer that question, I would say,
for
Asia, let's
sure.
go somewhere else. Like there's so much to see, there's so much to do. And as I continue along that path and gather more experiences, I know that it's going to change my motivations and the reasoning of why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Sure.
I think it would be cool to have my own studio one day. I've been a Rolling Stone for many years, so I've always been going place to place, and um, which is tight, and it gives me experiences and it gives me perspective, and it gives me connection, which is tight. But also like having, being in one spot and establishing like a clientele in a certain space is also cool. Like I think there's no right or wrong way to do it. Like you're the person to determine that for you. I do think there's a right or wrong way with like application and like safety and everything,
Mhm.
but like with, I mean, it's your life, you know? So like with me, like,
For
it's like
sure.
I want to continue to travel. Like I just went through a breakup, you know, like
Mhm.
things changed. Like I was like, oh,
For
like
sure.
this is tight. Like I want to cultivate this. I want to develop this. But it's like, well, things change. So now what do I have to do? Like it's always
Yeah.
like, I think it's important to be able to be adaptable. Like that's like part of life. Like life finds a way, right?
For
We,
sure.
shout out Jeff Goldblum. That'd
That's
be a
right.
sick person to tattoo too.
There
Jeff
you go. Now
Goldblum, bro.
you're
You
talking.
imagine
Now you're
that?
talking.
That'd be tight. That'd be
That
tight.
would be dope, man.
But I mean, I would like to have my own studio someplace where I could do it my way and have it in a certain, because I've worked in so many different shops of other people, you know, and that's
Yeah.
their shop and their studio, and then you got
Yeah.
to be respectful with how they do it, and you guys find a way to work together. I would like to teach somebody. I think I want to have
Mm.
one
Uh,
apprentice. I think
oh,
that's
nice.
cool. That's like my Star Wars nerd stuff coming through, you
For
know.
sure.
There's a master and apprentice, and then once I'm done teaching
Mm.
them, like they will hopefully go on and be better than I was. And can do something cool and give back to tattooing and give back to the people that have given you everything. You know, that's why I'm so grateful for Jenny. Like she has given me the opportunity to develop my craft and to develop my my skills in working with people and working with tattoos, and then it, you know, it comes back to where I'm being able to help you guys out with this podcast. It's just like it's all love, you know.
For sure.
So if I can continue to move with that, I think I'm going to be all right no matter what.
For sure.
Preach, Mason, preach. What is the weirdest thing you have ever tattooed?
Ooh.
Like imagery wise,
Could be anything.
well, imagery wise, I mean, I've done some crazy ones. Like I've done like the first tattoo I did in my apprenticeship on another person, I gave out like the first 10 for free, you know, like I did like,
Oh.
well, I mean, I didn't know what I was doing really,
Yeah.
like, and
Yeah.
I didn't, you know, I wasn't developed in the way that I am now, to where I like am like, yes, like I charge X amount of money because I have X amount of years of experience. Excuse me. But the first one I ever did on a friend uh, is on my buddy Randall back when I was living in Boulder, Colorado. And he wanted a cowboy boot full of spaghetti.
That's a
And I
weird
was like,
tattoo.
what? I was like, what? Like a spaghetti Western? And he was like, what do you mean? And I was like, oh, okay. So you just want a cowboy boot full of spaghetti, bro. That's wild. So
That's
that one
funny.
stands out to me. I also did, I don't know if y'all are familiar with King of the Hill.
For
Mhm.
sure.
So I did a Dale Dribble head on a cockroach body, which was amazing. Like, you know, it's strange, but it's also like so cool.
Yeah.
Um, I did do this tattoo for this chick one time, and it was like a more very intimate area, and she wanted me to put this phrase "lucky you" by her, you know, her lady parts. And I was like, "Oh, lucky
Wow.
me."
That's a wild
But I
tattoo.
I was also like, you know, I don't know like how, like I don't know how it's gonna work. Like I don't really, you know,
Yeah.
like I don't know how great of an idea this is. And she was like, well, I really really want it. And so I was like, all right, it's gonna be $500. You know, like a
Yeah.
way out there, like something that would normally be an 80 or $100 tattoo anywhere else. I was like, 5x that. Like, you know, I don't really want to do it. Like I don't really need to do it. But she was like, I'll pay you $500. And I was like, all right, fuck it. Let's go. So that was pretty weird because it was like very, you know, like it's a strange, but like it
Yeah.
also like we're all people, you know, and like that's her way of expression. And so it's like if I was able to make her life better by doing that, like whatever, man. Like,
Oh, that's
um,
wild.
yeah,
Lucky
it was
you.
wild, dude. It was wild. It was for sure wild.
Is there a tattoo you've ever regretted doing?
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes. I think, and especially when you're young and you're not as experienced, you can make bad decisions. And maybe you do a tattoo that you're not equipped to do with your skill set or with the time, or if you rush into it. Um, but with that regret, it gives me a lesson, and it has allowed me to grow from it. So maybe like in the moment, yes, but over time, no, because it has allowed me to become better from doing so. Um, I try not to live with too many regrets, and there's only like a handful of things probably on one of my hands that I can say that I like truly actually regret, and I don't think any of them have come from like doing a tattoo. Um, I think maybe in the moment I felt a little bit about it, but like I said, like I used it as a way to grow from it instead of like using it as a way to like self-destruct or whatever. I just think, like we're like who's perfect,
Yeah,
who has ever made all of the right
for sure.
decisions ever, and if somebody says that, they're a fucking liar. So
Okay, I got another one. So
shoot.
throughout the years, there's always these stereotypical like tattoos. You get like the barbed wire or you get like the tramp stamp. What's the new like stereotype of tattoo that makes all the like people just roll their eyes like, yeah, I'll do it, but fuck.
Well, first of all, barbed wire is classic, so I'm not trying to hear that. But I mean, yeah, it comes and goes. Like
Yeah,
when I first started tattooing, it was very much so like, and I'm a little hesitant to say anything because I don't want to knock anyone,
yeah,
Like
yeah, for
if
sure.
if that's the thing that makes you happy and that's the thing that's gonna make you feel you like yourself and that you're expressing yourself in the best way, then like who am I to say that that's wrong or not? Like we all have our
Sure,
own opinions and we all have our own tastes, and that's cool. But I'm here to be somebody to like help you help yourself.
sure.
But um I hate lip tattoos. I think lip tattoos are fucking stupid.
Yeah, yeah.
They don't work. It's not like tattoos should not be an internal thing.
Uh-huh.
Um, they can work. I've done some that have been really awesome, and I've done others that are gone in 3 days,
Yeah.
and I always am like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. But then people are persistent and they're like, here, take my money. And I'm like, well, if you want me to do this tattoo and give me your money for a tattoo that's not going to last, I mean, like, whatever. Um, but I mean, like there have been so many trends, like the
Yeah.
tree armbands, like getting like
Yeah.
a bunch of trees coming up your arm, or getting like a lion with a crown and blue
Yeah, oh,
eyes.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah,
there's a lot of, and like if you're into that, cool, but like there's so many other things that you can be into, and like
yeah.
this is something that I'll say to y'all and to whoever is watching, is that like you have an opportunity to do something completely unique and that has never been done before. Like you are somebody who is completely unique and has never been done before. So own that, like lean into that. And if you find an artist that you're into and you like their style, you like their work, you're able to meet up with them, have a consultation, you like who they are, like allow us to do our job, and I every time that has happened and somebody has given me the trust to do what I do, 5 out of 5 stars experience,
Can
and have
confirm.
become people that have been not only good clients to me, but have become my friends, and have become people that I care about and that I check up on, it's a really incredible thing. So, um, yeah.
Sure.
Can confirm. And I always think of when I had you do my anchor spoiler, I have an anchor. But when you said like you rarely ever do that, and I've had so many people like, wow, is this all he does? I'm like, no. So it's like, yeah, to have that freedom and talent. And I got to see you create that from nothing. And watching that whole process is, I don't know if you do that with everywhere. And would you just like create it from nothing, and then it's like this beautiful work of art. It's like 10 out of 10.
Awesome. Well, that's sick to hear. I mean, yes, that is my job description, is creating something out of nothing. I just pull art out of my ass and it's cool. But every
So
time I do like include my process, and I'm not as much so somebody like I'm not very good at documenting things on social media, and I'm not good at like filming my process and doing all of that. Like I don't really care. And that's just me. And I've had so many people be like, Mason, you need to do XYZ. And I'm like, you don't get to tell me what the fuck to do. Like I'm doing it my way. And
Yeah.
my way is the way that I'm doing it. And I don't tell you how to do your stuff. Like, but every time I have like worked with a client and I get to do it, like with them, they are very enamored, and it is cool to get to, I definitely get my ego fluffed a bit. I try to keep it under check, but yeah, it is fun.
so much fun. What is the most boring tattoo? I don't know if this is that you've done or like a tattoo style that you find boring, but you can kind of take that however you want.
I don't find tattooing. I think tattoos are the coolest thing ever. I'm never bored when I'm tattooing. That's a time for me where I get to forget all of the issues that I have in my life, and I get to like focus in on something. It allows me to get into a flow state. I'm never bored when I'm tattooing. I can't afford to be bored when I'm tattooing because my mind is in hyper focus, making sure that I'm stretching the skin correctly and I have enough ink in my needle and I'm going the correct depth down. Like, there's no way. If you're bored when you're tattooing, you should fucking
Yeah.
quit. Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Period. Period.
Sure. Time I did go into a tattoo place and it was all white guys and they looked at me
Yep.
like, yeah, I can't do nothing with that. And it was
Sure.
just kind of like, wow, okay.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, man. I'm sorry that you had
Yeah,
that experience. But I mean, that's the truth of the matter in a lot of ways, is that they don't have the experience and they don't know, and that's
yeah,
why it's a good thing you didn't get tattooed by them,
for
because
sure.
they weren't the person to, they didn't have the skill set in order to do it. Like there are so many people, regardless of the color of your skin, that have tattoos, and have
Mhm.
successful tattoos. um it's all about, your ability to problem solve, like it's just so like with somebody that has lighter pigmentation, that light skin is that tone, right? And then you put black down and then you create contrast. Like that's the biggest thing with tattooing, I think, is contrast. Is like, how are you going to create an image that will contrast in the skin successfully? And that's like the first question, right? So if I had somebody come to me that had a darker pigmented skin, I'd be like, okay, my starting tone is different than if I were would be working with somebody with a lighter skin tone. And then from there is how I developed the tattoo, right? It's like very early on in the process that I would go about it. And in some ways, like certain colors would work and would not work, right? Like if
Yeah,
you were to do a design on a white piece of paper, any if I put white on the paper, you're not going to see it, right?
yeah,
But if I put black on the paper, it's going to be heavy contrast. Or if I put like red on the paper, it's going to be heavy contrast. Whereas like with somebody that has darker skin, that black is still like, you're not like, like black is still black. Like, and nobody is like well,
yeah,
everybody, there's a spectrum of colors, but everybody has their own unique skin tone, and then there's going to be something that can and will contrast with that. um so I think it's more about like the ability to problem solve rather than like not being able. And who knows, like those guys maybe just sucked.
yeah, for sure. That's funny.
When did you first notice your passion for creativity, and then when did you realize you were talented with it?
uh, how talented I am. I just try
I
to
would
work
say you're
hard.
talented.
Well,
Huh.
that's very kind. Thank you. Um, I was I mean, I've been into art since I was a little kid. I was like found in bedrooms, in closets, drawing on the walls type deal. Like I'd get crayons and paints and I would like destroy my house, which is cool. But and then like when I would go to y'all remember the Scholastic Book Fair back when we were in
Oh, for
school, right?
sure, for sure.
People would get like whatever, Harry Potter, Captain Underpants, or whatever. And I would always pick the how to draw books. Like, I always
Yeah.
wanted to do the how to draw, and it was like how to draw, like, Digimon, Pokemon, like, cars, like, all of that stuff is just like, I was like, this is tight. And then as I got a bit older, I would, like, trace the designs. And people are like, well, why are you tracing it? And I'm like, it's the only way to do it perfectly. Like that's the way to do. And like when you tattoo, you trace you follow a stencil. So it's kind of ironic the fact that I had that know-how way back when, and the fact that I'm a tattooer now. It's kind of cool. Um, but like as I got more into high school, I was able like my art skills had developed a bit more, and it's just looking, it's like really being able to observe and to know what you're looking at and then how to break it down and draw something. Like if I draw a car, it's like, okay, well, I'm not going to start with drawing the license plate number. Like I'm going to start with like the larger mass of it. I'm going to be like, okay, well, this is like the general shape, and then these are like other little shapes around it. It's like how do you break down like how do you eat a cow, like a bite at a time type deal, right? Sorry to
Yeah.
any vegans out there, but it's like a step by step process, and being able to break it. And I guess that's just the way that my brain works. But it can be taught to anybody, like anybody can draw a square,
Yeah.
anybody can draw a circle, anybody can draw a triangle, and then you just do more little shapes, and you make little alterations, and you just kind of discover it. um so I would say more in like high school I got more into like portraiture, and like realism, like with like graphite and charcoal, and I was able to recreate people's faces in like real stuff, and I was like, oh, like I've got like a knack for this. But then I went to university, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna be a doctor, yada yada yada. But I took an art class because I had always been into art as an elective because I got to pick, and I was like, oh, well, I want to do an art class. That would be fun. And I found myself spending more time working on my art projects than I was studying for biology or chemistry. And I was like, oh, this might mean something. So
So,
yeah, it was a nice little um like very steady gradual kind of change into it.
Mhm. Love that.
all right, I got another one. So, I got a lot of friends who tattoo all over the place. What city do you think has the best tattoo artist? Don't get
Oh
yourself in
man,
trouble with that.
that's like asking me what my favorite song is, dude. There are so many talented people in this world, and there's so many talented tattooers and artists in this world. And, I have a favorite one in every city, or I might have multiple favorite ones in every city. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't pick one singular person. Um, just because the way that people do it varies so much, and then what it is they produce also varies so much. um and that's just not even just cities but countries and
Yeah,
continents. Like I have I mean all of the and that's like the internet is cool in the way, and social media is cool in the way to where I can get to see that, and I can be open to viewing things from like there are so many dope tattooers in Australia and in South Korea. The South Koreans are insane at tattooing, and in
yeah,
Japan and in China, like and it'll, like, and there's their own certain spice to it. And
Yeah.
that's part of the reason why I want to continue to travel, so I can go and get tattooed by these people and have a different experience and see how they do it and see how they go about it, because there's just so much. So yeah, I just I love all people. I love all tats. It's tight.
For sure.
Art
Mhm.
is art.
Art is art. Yeah.
What is the most meaningful or the favorite tattoo that you've ever done?
Mm. Um, that's also a hard one for me to answer. I think I've had so many that have been very meaningful for me in different ways. Um, but to speak on, like, yesterday, I tattooed a couple of people yesterday. I didn't have any appointments booked, but I went in and, like, was hoping for some walk-ins, and I got a couple people to get tattooed, and I tattooed this guy, and he had lost his son before he was even here, which is rough. And he had some footprints of him, and he had a name, and so I tattooed his name and the footprints, like, right here on his neck. And that was really meaningful for me because he had gone through something that I hope nobody ever has to go through, is losing a loved one and losing a child. Like, that is just incredibly heavy. And when he came in and asked me, I was just like, damn, dude, like, dude, I'm so
Yeah,
sorry.
that's
That's so
tough.
rough. And he was like, I don't have, like, a ton of money for it. And I was like, whatever, like, what do you got? Let's work through it. And that's where, like, that's what makes it meaningful for me, is being able to provide a bit of solace from the hardship and the difficulties of life. And that's super cool. So that's probably the most meaningful one that I've done recently, at least. Um, and then after that, I tattooed this guy, and I had a conversation with my buddy on the phone, because I've been going through, I go through my own stuff, and I've been working through it and trying to find the best way to move forward. And I was like, but right now I feel very, like, aligned. I'm seeing repeating numbers all of the time. Like, I'm like, like, certain people are calling me and talking to me about stuff. Like, I feel like I'm where I need to be. And so then this dude walks in, and he was like, "Hey, my name is Chris. This is my wife, Christina." Like, and I was like, "Wait, wait, wait. But that's, like, the same thing regardless." And he's like, "I want 555 tattooed on my arm." And I was like, "Bro, you're kidding me." Like, cuz it just keeps coming. So, like, it also is, like, depending on how, like, I don't know. Like, they're all meaningful for me. Like, every tattoo that I've done is super meaningful for me, because somebody is coming to me with the trust to do something for them. And obviously, like, tattoos are expensive, and, like, they cost money and it hurts, but, like, that that connection is what means the most to me, and having that experience is what's tight. And then to be able to do what I do and to do a good job and to give a fuck, because I give a fuck about it. And, I mean, like, recently I've been going through a lot of real heavy shit in life, and it's been hard for me to be quote unquote normal with it. And I've probably, like, lacked in, like, my drawing or, like, making other art, but, like, that's that's all right. Like, I know that this too will pass, and I'll be able to come out of it even better from it. And then all of the people along the way that have helped me through it, it's just like I've got nothing but the most respect and appreciation for them. So everything is so meaningful for me. And I'm somebody that probably feels too much, and that can be overwhelming for some people. But I mean, that's my truth, and that's who I am, and I'm so grateful for it. So yeah, all of my tattoos are meaningful and important to me. And all the people that have been tattooed, and people that I've only met once, or people that I knew and don't know anymore. Like, I've tattooed, like, exes, like, I don't talk to them anymore, but they've got a tattoo for me walking around. Like, it's a incredible thing. So yeah, I'm just tattooing rules.
Have you ever been turned on by tattooing someone attractive?
Oh wow.
I would be lying if I said no. Um, but I do believe that it's important to be professional, like I'm not like a weirdo creep type dude. Like, and it's always hard. Like um, and like I said, I haven't always made the best decisions in life. But like from that, like I've found that I am so I'm very much more comfortable like having an attraction or being, potentially having like a connection with somebody beforehand and then tattooing them rather than like them coming to me first and then going because I feel like it's a conflict of interest for me. Like, don't shit where you eat.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like I tattoo very, beautiful humans. Everybody that I tattoo, beautiful people. And like even if it's
Huh.
like whether I'm attracted to them or not. I've had people hit on me while I'm tattooing them. I'm like, look, like I'm just trying to do my job, man. Like I'm not and it's like I've had situations that have gotten me very uncomfortable and I've had
Yeah.
to have a difficult conversation with somebody. I've fired people. I've fired
Uh,
clients because of it. Because I'm like, look, like this doesn't make me comfortable. I don't want to have this go on. Like, this means a lot to me, and I don't, I'm not gonna sacrifice this thing that I've worked for, some mundane thing. So, yeah.
Mhm.
okay.
Have you ever had a tattoo you weren't able to finish? So there's like an unfinished artwork out there.
I've got tons of unfinished shit out there, which sucks, and some that I feel like I'll never be able to finish. But life is weird and life changes, and sometimes I'll start something and like people are super hyped on it and they want to do it and then they don't come back. And I'm not going to like go hound them and get on their ass about it. Like they've got their own life to live. And, if they ever do want to come back and finish it up, I'd be more than happy to. But yeah, I've had many things. I've had people even just not show up, all the
Damn.
time. That's the thing that happens in the
Yeah.
industry is that, we call it a no call, no show, and we get ghosted. And like, we'll take a deposit, and we'll have an appointment set, and then they don't come in. I reach out, and crickets, and that it stinks because it's like my livelihood. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have to go and like do extra work, or I'm also an artist, and I make paintings, and I do that to supplement. I've made T-shirts and prints and all of that stuff. I mean a bunch of different type of artwork. I used to have a website, but it's just something that has not really been in my realm of priorities recently. Uh, but yeah, no, it's always a bummer to not be able to finish something because it's like I I think about it, or I'll think about something that I've did. I was talking to somebody the other day about that actually. I started this really sick piece on somebody and we got like halfway through it and they're like, yeah, I'll come back. And they just never do. And so it's like, all right, well, I'll live with not finishing it and you can live with an unfinished thing. And whether they go to a different artist or not, like, I guess that's their business. But yeah.
I have a question to piggyback off of that then. I know a couple different artists who are very uncomfortable covering up other people's art. What do
Yeah.
you think about that?
Yeah. It's a loaded question and there's a bunch of different perspectives on it. Um, I always, if somebody comes to me with a piece that has been started by another artist, my first question is, would you be willing to go back to that artist to finish it? Because I know what it's like to not get to
Yeah.
finish something and it sucks. Um, and I think it's important, like, for that piece of art to be finished, especially like if it's dope or, I mean, like, and people have, I mean, there's so many variables, right? Like,
Yeah.
there might be like, well, I had this artist and I was uncomfortable with them and I didn't like the way that they treated me or I didn't like the experience that I had, but I always try to encourage that And some people just say no, right? They don't even want
Yeah,
to deal with it because
for
that
sure.
they can just wipe their hands of it, and then there's no controversy at all because they just say no. It's just like with me, like tattooing minors. I just don't
Yeah.
tattoo minors. Like I'm just like, you're 18, like you got to be 18. I was 18 when I got mine. Like it's got to happen. Like I have tattooed people that are like 17, about to be 18 in like 2 weeks, or like a week, and they're getting like a super meaningful tattoo for them, and they've been wanting it for years, and like, you know, each situation is different. But overall, it's like, yeah, like you just do what you're comfortable with doing, and that goes back to like me doing tattoos that maybe like when I was first starting out, it's like, well, maybe I shouldn't do this. I don't have the skill set or the understanding to be able to do it. And you're doing it out of love, or like you tattoo somebody comes to get tattooed and they're like, yeah, I'm going to Florida next week to go in the ocean and go surfing. And they're like, I want to get this big tattoo on my arm. I'm like, I'm not gonna fucking do that. Like, you're gonna destroy it in the water.
Yeah,
Like, you're not, like, that's a bad idea. So having that conscience, I think, is really important, um, as an artist and as a client. So you can know, like, because then if I spend 8 hours of my time and like my energy working on something, and like somebody goes and destroys it, or I've spent 20, like, so say it's another artist and they spent 20 hours on a piece, and then you go to someone else to finish it, and that's not maybe how they would have done it. It's
yeah,
kind of like a slap in the face. It's a disrespectful thing. And that's why communication is so important. And that's something, that is very true in so many ways right now in life, is that communication is so important.
for sure.
Um, so yeah, that's what I would say on that.
Thank you.
That is all my questions. Thank you for the big old interview there.
Yeah, no
Yeah,
problem.
for sure.
Yeah,
So
So
I
for
tell the
guess I
people
don't
people,
mind
that,
talking too much.
yeah,
yeah,
you're
tell the
good.
people where they can find you.
Yeah,
Like,
where can
where
people
can they
find
find
you?
you?
And I'll tag your
Right
stuff
on.
too. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. So I do have an Instagram that
Hmm.
has a small body of my work on it that I like to put out there and that I like to represent myself with. I've been moving a bit out of social media. Like, I haven't really been posting too much. It's not something that is a priority of mine. I have a lot of personal stuff going on in my life right now, and I've been in between different states,
Hmm.
dealing with family stuff and personal stuff. But I am actually going to be like relocating again. I'm currently out in Indiana, but I am going to be, I guess this is my first time saying it publicly at all.
Thank
But
you.
I will be moving back to Colorado within the next couple of months, and I'm super excited for that. Colorado is my home, and I love it. I have so many people that I love there and things that I love there. So like right now, um, I might be hard to pin down, but I'm a Gemini, so I'm always hard to pin down. But
What's
I
your
have an
Instagram, man?
Instagram.
Yeah, yeah.
Pardon?
Oh, I was asking what your Instagram was.
Yeah, so my Instagram is at Mason Alexander, all one word, underscore tattoo. And that's where you can find my page with some of my work on it. And I've been a little bit more on my story, like posting about the Broncos and the Nuggets and the Bears. The Bears are about to
Yeah,
play the Rams, and
that's right.
I'm
That's right.
so excited to go watch it at a bar.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
but yeah, and then I have my email on there, which is the best way to contact me if you're interested in discussing a potential tattoo. I prefer the email. Just because it's professional and it shows me that you're actually interested, because it is a big deal, like if
Yeah,
you're
for
going to be
sure.
willing to come and get tattooed and spend money and time, and I'm going to spend the time and the energy and the money to make your stuff happen, then like I just want to know that you're serious. But my email is attached in my bio. It's also mason.alexander.art@gmail.com, and just put the word tattoo inquiry within there. And I usually, I check my email daily, and I usually respond within 48 to 72 hours. Um, yeah.
Shit,
And I'll
perfect.
tag
And
those too.
thank you for the platform to put that out there for me and to allow me to chat, with y'all and everyone
Oh, for
today.
sure.
Yeah, this
It's
has
been a
been
good
fun.
time. Hmm.
We'll have to have you back on when we get to talking about sports.
Oh,
Right?
bet, bet,
Let's
bet,
go.
bet.
Because I'm in Chicago, so I'm finna get ready to watch the Bears game right now.
Oh, bear down, bear
That's
down.
right.
Let's
Let's
go.
go.
Oh,
Let's
I
go.
love it. I love it. I have a heart attack every time I watch them play, but
Yeah,
usually
yeah.
the next day I'm pretty hyped. And it's been, I mean, I was born outside of Chicago in Munster, just right on the
Yeah, yeah,
border there.
yeah.
But then I grew up in Colorado. My parents were divorced, so I did a lot of back and forth. But I've been a Bears fan since I was a kid. And
Nice.
then, growing up in Colorado, I've always been a Broncos fan too. And it's been more fun to cheer for the Broncos because they actually win. But now this year,
That's
the Bears have just been like, I mean, Ben
right.
Johnson, man,
Let's
he's
go.
the secret sauce, dude.
Let's go. I'm ready.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Well, yeah, our next sports episode, we'll call you
That's
on
right.
in.
Heck yeah, I'd love to be a part of it. Yeah, thanks.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on and taking the time and answering all of our questions.
Yeah, no problem. And I'm also, I'm always available. Like if anybody wanted to hit up my Instagram or an email if you have any questions about anything, I'm more than happy to discuss it. So, because I think being educated on it is important.
100%.
Hmm.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And thank you, George, for suffering through being sick, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you killed it.
Yeah.
It's his Jordan flu game right now.
That's right. That's funny.
All right. Well, till next time, keep it weird, everybody. And yeah, if you have any questions, we'll tag all of Mason's stuff. But yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys.
Bye,
Peace and
guys.
love, everybody. All right, take care.
Bye.
Bye bye.